Hello, Cancer. Welcome. It is Rebecca, Empathic Crow. These readings are being recorded with the focus of the energy August 2025 in mind. However, as you probably have heard from others, readings are timeless. So if you see this another time and the message resonates with you, that is still valid. That still is something that you needed to hear at that time. Also, I sometimes forget to say, please like, share, and subscribe. For me, it's hard because I don't always think about kind of how many people are liking and following the videos. But the biggest thing for me is the message gets out. So if more people get the message that maybe they need to hear, that always just makes my heart sing. And commenting, I absolutely love when people comment because I love seeing the connections or your thoughts and things like that. So please feel free to comment as well. We, again, are focusing on August energy. So we're talking about Leo season. We are talking about bringing in that confidence, that solar plexus, sacral chakra, and even with the Lionsgate portal 8/8, August 8th, which is tomorrow. I was hoping to get the videos done sooner, but you are my next to last video in the series of zodiac signs for August. So with that, even the Reiki video that I did, Reiki for the Flock, that I usually send out to my subscribers for my webpage, www.empathiccrow1111.com. I did make it public so that people could see what that Reiki for the Flock is about. And it's a Reiki video monthly that also has an aspect of like guided meditation, some gemstone suggestions, things like that. So if you want to check that out, you can. And again, for those who subscribe to my webpage, you'll get an email each month with that in it. Also on August 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing my monthly metaphysical meetup, which is a Zoom virtual meeting. And with that, we're going to focus on a specific spread for the Leo season energy. We are going to be talking about being able to move through Leo season, that Lionsgate portal, with the focus on heart, courage, and just, I just keep seeing yellow and orange, the solar plexus, sacral chakra, that confident energy. Oh, wow. That is awesome. Okay, so Cancer, you are starting out with one of the best cards that I've seen in a while. Some of these readings, they've not been as brutal as the mid-July readings, but the August readings, the cards, they're going to tell you the truth. So we have the Six of Wands. So there is a victory coming in. And notice that there's this like sun fiery energy that is around the wreath on this victory photo. So again, that's fully what I was talking about, having that passion, that confidence. Solar plexus, we're releasing those anxieties, feeling comfortable with ourselves, feeling comfortable with our emotions, not allowing the fear to take over. With that sacral chakra, we're talking about intimacy, passion, just fully embracing yourself, being confident, being creative, all of that. And you definitely are in a space where maybe you know already that you can do that. Maybe that's what you want, but it's about getting there. We have the flowers. So there are definitely things, whether it's new beginnings or opportunities or whatever, that are coming to you. And people are noticing, or they will notice, if this is a future energy, how you're elevating. Like you've got some watchers. Sometimes that's not necessarily a good thing, but sometimes it is helpful. So let's get a little bit more information. And I'm going to ground real quick because I did not ground or call in my big four, and I appreciate doing that. So let's do that. Just letting the energy release from my body. God, angels, guides, and ancestors, thank you so much for that first card of the Six of Wands. What else does Cancer need to know? What does Cancer need to know about that Six of Wands? What does it mean? Goodness gracious. We're going to have like just a whole bunch of these flip over. All right. Yep, this makes sense. So Again, talking about the Leo energy, that Lion's Gate. I even mentioned 8 in the infinity symbol before. So it's having that strength. You already know what you want. I feel like there's a part of you that knows that you can get it, that you are successful, you can be successful. And with that strength, it's being able to see there's a new beginning coming in, and you have to just embrace that heart of the lion and say, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I deserve this. I have worked for it. I know what I want. This lion in this particular deck has his mouth open, but he's yawning. And so with that, I often say with the strength card, I think of the lion not in the aspect of like the big lion's roar. I'm seeing like, is it MGM, the lion roaring at the beginning of the film? It's not like that. It's more that quiet. Like if you have dogs or if you watched videos, and like my dogs, they'll be like real loud. And then you're like, shh, inside voice whisper. And they're like, so it's kind of like that. Like you're not coming out just, this is what I have to say. This is me. But at the same time, it's just you're changing. You're changing what you say. You're changing how you say it. You're changing how you carry yourself. You have to have the strength to do it. But look at that solar plexus chakra yellow energy, like letting go of those anxieties because you have this. And I'm seeing this crow almost like you're the lion, and I'm seeing the crow as like the spirit guide, or could be an ancestor or something, but someone who could even be somebody here in the physical world. But there's someone that is like your cheerleader, your support, who's like, you've got this. You do not have to worry about this. And then all this green at the bottom, again, getting into that heart chakra energy, because you have to feel it. You have to believe it to create it. Get out of this hangman energy. You've got to change that perspective. Even Gemini in the reading before you, they got the hanged man as well. And so it's understanding that there's going to be fear sometimes. We have to have that strength to be able to move forward. You have created stability and a foundation. And if you haven't, you know how to do it. But you don't necessarily have to lose your stability and foundation in order to get that new beginning. There's still these flowers blossoming up here. So we have to turn that perspective around. You're not stuck. You're not stuck hanging there. You can fly away. You can do something different. Doing something different is scary sometimes, but we have the 9 of Pentacles. And the very first thing that I'm seeing is the lotus flowers. It sometimes feels difficult. I'm not saying this is something that's going to happen overnight and everything turns around. You may have to go through some muck, go through some mud before you come up to the top and you're in this 6 of Wands victory energy, but you can do it. You're going to have the financial security of it. You're going to have that abundance that comes from it. You have to focus on your intuition. You know, with a wolf, they're quiet, they analyze, they weigh things out, and they go with their instinct, right? They're seeing clearly all the things. And I feel like this perspective aspect of the hanged man may even be that you're getting a higher perspective. You're seeing more things. You're not just seeing the little picture. You're seeing a broader, big picture. You've got the sun in this card also. So we're looking at that new beginning. We're looking at that fiery energy, that passion. August, Leo, 8-8 portal, whatever you want to say. And then we have this butterfly up here, transformation. And look at the colors of the butterfly, that yellow and orange of the solar plexus and sacral chakra. Like this whole card just kind of embodies that, along with the pink and the flowers for that heart chakra. Pink and green being heart chakra colors. So if you can lean into your soul's desires, your passions, and things like that, you're creating this victory. You're creating that 6 of Wands energy. How you're going to do it. And it's funny, I think Gemini had this card as well. Yes, actually, I think they came out of the gate, first card being this one, the Queen of Swords. So part of it, Cancer, is going to be balancing the emotional aspect. Like notice even in this photo, we've got the water at the bottom, those emotions. It's balancing the emotional aspect because like I'm a Scorpio, like me, you feel things deeply. How we respond to it may be different, but you feel things deeply. So it's going to be balancing those emotions, thinking clearly about what it is, clearly and logically what it is that you want to say, that you want to do. I always encourage people to write things down. I've even got, my notebook that I've been writing just a general, what was the main point of the read so that I can remember when I go back. But being able to really decide, what do you want this victory to look like? What would that success look like to you? How can I get there? And then speaking clearly about it, not feeling like you have to go around in circles to get to where you want to go. You're cutting through and just getting to the point. That logic, clear thought, and clear speaking. Those are the things that are going to get you where you want to go. I honestly feel like that is it from the tarot for your read. Probably the least amount of cards to just get to the point. So again, I feel like that's reiterating that message of, even though I'm not saying things are going to happen quickly, that really is up to you and the situation. But this is what you can get. Okay, so how do we get to that point? And not, like I said, I'm seeing, if you're older like me, 11 on the clock, late 1900s person, then you may remember in the comic strips, it was Family Circus, and you'd have the kids, and to demonstrate, that the kids had kind of gone from point A to point B, there's little dashes, and sometimes they loop around to try to show the path of how the kids went. And so you don't want to have to be like this. Or I'm also seeing Harold in the purple crayon, where it's just kind of like this crayon trail of purple. So you can do it in a way that you're planning it, that you're knowing what you want. Because like I said, part of it's going to be coming out of the emotion into your head, which can also be higher self, connection to divine, universe, source, God, whatever it is for you, so that you can create the plan, but having enough emotion that you're passionate about it, you feel aligned with it, it's something you want to do. So we're going to go next to the Inner Child Oracle by, I think it's Amanda Lynn Ailsling. As I've said in some of the other readings, when it comes to our limiting beliefs, when it comes to things that maybe hold us back, the worries about expectations and things that kind of dampen our confidence, it often starts in childhood, whether it's things that people have said to us, things that we've observed with other people, or ideas that we created about situations and expectations around us. That inner child sometimes needs some attention, sometimes even healing work, whether it's shadow work, trauma work, whatever it is, inner child healing to be able to move forward. So for my Cancer people, what do they need to focus on to kind of release some of this inner child thoughts, anxieties, expectations, worries, rules that have held them back from getting that victory card? All right, so pretty adamant on that one. I don't know if you saw it fell out and flipped. 23, which breaks down to a 5, which means we're at that point of change. Let it go. Let go of all that no longer serves you. It's time to release those things. And look at the imagery on this. We've got the tree where it looks very fiery with those orange leaves. I love that when you're going past the mountains in the fall, when you're right at that point where the leaves have changed and it almost, not in a bad way, like there's a fire on the mountain, but it looks like the mountain's on fire, but in a beautiful way. That's what I'm seeing with these leaves. And again, that's that fiery, passionate energy. With this, I'm also seeing this white down here. And whatever it is that is there feels like it's in that rest mode. And so this is where I'm talking about being able to pull back, slow down, and connect with yourself, connect with your higher self, with that intuition, with source, whatever. Could be even connecting with somebody who's like a spiritual guide or something like that, but really doing that internal work to see what it is that you need to release. And then how can you release that and let it go? I'm also, and I haven't noticed this before, no way to say it, but there's these little specks of light. And so it reminds me of how people talk about when we're thinking about getting into the negative thoughts, negative self-talk, our mind focusing only on things that are going wrong. It's reframing that and turning it around by looking for the glimmers So part of this, in order to get to this space, is going to be you looking for the things that you do love, the things that are going right, the things that you're grateful for, the moments where you feel calm or totally at peace, just in your body, present in the moment, 15:15 on the clock, and it just feels right. So anything that doesn't feel right, anything that is creating that space where you feel like you have to make yourself smaller, or that you're not worthy, that you can't have the things that you want, you've got to let that go. Anything else from the Inner Child deck? We're going to do one more shuffle, and then we'll move on to Secrets of the Ancestors by Abiola Abrams. I know how to say her name, but I have messed up on it quite a bit in these readings. All right, so nothing else from the Inner Child. I will show you the box for Secret of the Ancestors. Abiola Abrams. So we'll see what the ancestors have to say as far as how Cancer, or you get through this, or what do you need to do to create the things that you want. So that's interesting. The shuffle goes together and then they push apart. And so that may even be part of the message, because that was weird and it's happened twice now. Or are these the cards you're supposed to have? I'm going to put these two cards aside. We're going to see. Interesting. But yeah, that was strange. And so part of the message could even be that you need to be able to recognize that sometimes if there is resistance and you're trying to do something, and I may have already said this, or this was part of Gemini's reading, but either way, your reading and Gemini's reading have been very similar, although very different too. But if you're trying to do something and it's just not working out for you, then that may mean that you have to do it differently. So we did have a card come out with that one. That makes complete sense. So we have a 17, which breaks down to an 8. Does she need to be covered up? For the most part, she's covered up. I think you guys will be okay. If you have a problem with it, please don't report me. Just send me a message and I'll cover it up next time. But 1-8 is, of course, or 1-7 is an 8. That's what it breaks down to. We've got the star, spiritual rebirth. And what I want you to really see in this particular star card is we do have the imagery of her being grounded and also the water of the emotions coming down. But look at how bright that star is. And think about your very first card, which was the 6 of Wands and that victory. And I said, there are people that are watching you. And notice that there's the yellow circle behind this crow up here highlighting it. And there's the star behind her illuminating her. We also have the plants and things that are growing around her, the flowers, the universe aspect and everything. There's a new beginning and the opportunities are limitless. Well, they're limited by what you believe. So you got to get out of your head a little bit. Think outside of the box. It doesn't mean that everything that you think of is something that you want or will manifest, but that if you can look past those limits and say, what would I really want, even if I feel like I can't have it, or even if other people may think that it's crazy or silly or whatever, you just have to do it. Sometimes we have to rip the Band-Aid off, and we definitely need to sometimes let go of the expectations of others, because that will limit you every time. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Magician that I talked about earlier. So this is one, but in this deck, it is the Conjure Woman, and the representation is manifestation. And that's exactly what we're talking about for the, ooh, my head's starting to tingle. Your ancestors are saying, excuse me, who do you think you are? Goodness gracious. You are much more than you are allowing yourself to be. So yes. And so, yeah, these cards that were on the bottom of the deck when I couldn't shuffle it through are definitely meant for you. 37, which is a 10, which breaks down to a 1. I said the Magician card, Altar of Earth, limitless prosperity. And I was going to say that even though I know these are water jugs in her hands, no, not there, right here. Water jugs in her hands on the star card, it looks like pentacles. So through your healing, you're going to be abundant. But altar of earth, limitless prosperity. So you're only limited, again, by what you believe you can do. And notice there are lotus flowers in this image as well. So again, it may not be easy. And then we've also got the roses here. You need to stay grounded. We've got the infinity symbol. You have everything that you need. It's you believing in yourself and knowing that it may not come easy, but you're going to get there. Things are coming your way. You've got to keep your eyes open. And then we have the card 35, 3 and 5 break down to an 8. So 8, there was another reading I did. I can't remember which one it was, but 8s were like crazy through the whole thing. This may even have been one of the cards that came out in that. Let's see, because if you need to watch that one. Aries. Aries had all the 8s. So 35, mother of air, boundaries. And notice that we have that little girl angel. So I feel like focusing on that inner child, but also she feels like an ancestor. I know this is the secrets of the ancestor, but this doesn't feel like your energy. This feels like an ancestor saying, set those boundaries. 21:22 on the clock. Set those boundaries. If you set those boundaries and you don't allow yourself to buy into or feel stifled, put in a box by the expectations of others, your manifestation will come. You'll hear me say this a lot. As long as you're not doing anything that is potentially harmful or is harming yourself or other people or is criminal activity, be yourself. Do what you want to do. Because people are going to judge you no matter what. People, like I said, whether this is people looking at you and being like, oh, wow, look at Cancer, or this is people who are like, oh, look at Cancer. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are your authentic self, that you are living a life that you love, and you can be an example for others to do the same. But if they get jealousy and upset and hurt, or they try to tell you you're too much or put you back in the box, that is their own stuff, their own inner child healing. I was trying to say healing and child at the same time, work that they need to do for themselves. Cancer, this is a beautiful message. And like I said, you have all the tools. I have referenced the Magician. I'm going to write that down actually to remind me for when I go to upload these videos. Magician, you have that magician energy. You've got the intuition. You've got the emotions that can be pulled into that passionate energy. It's just balancing them, letting go of the anxieties, letting go of anything that's holding you back, and being able to believe in yourself and just make that move. You've got this, Cancer. Okay, again, please like, share, subscribe, and always comment. It's Empathic Crow, empathicrow1111.com. I hope to see comments from you. I hope to see you maybe at the metaphysical meetup. I just really am looking forward to engaging with people more and those messages getting out there. And maybe you start sharing some of your messages with others too. You're highly intuitive. Everyone has intuition, but you're highly intuitive. You just got to believe in yourself. Take care, Cancer.